We're streaming. We're streaming. I have discovered a great way for people that are addicted to beer to quit beer, and that is from drinking Blue Moon, which is a very sugary and um, aromatic type of Belgian beer that is also not very strong. Sipping a gigantic chicken shit just a minute ago. Put up these chickens. Okay, what's up? Hopefully you're doing well. Hopefully you're doing well. I can feel this. I can feel the whole thing swelling. You know, I feel the whole thing swelling. I just took a drink of that. Literally, just tastes like a Coca-Cola. This beer. I just took a drink of this. I was like, "What the fuck is that?" Oh, it's way too much sugar. Boy. I don't understand, Katie. You want to see the... Hey, good evening. Wow, Katie says hello. What do you guys want to talk about? This is the Sigma here. Oh, cool. Okay, is that like the one and only Sigma? I can't tell because you've got 3 digits after your name. So you could be one of fucking 999 Sigmas. Or I mean, you've got zeros on it. So it could be 1,000. For all I fucking know. Okay. How do you know? You don't know. You don't know anything. I'll probably be able to tell. I'll probably be able to tell if it's Sigma by the time he makes enough statements. He's already doing well in proving his identity. So we're already on track. We're well on track. The cats are like cats. So I guess cats get more active with light than even chickens. If you turn on lights, like if your visible light spectrum, you turn them on, the chickens go crazy and they start looking at the shadows and shit. These cats are even more. They're getting really active for no reason at all. Let's see. Okay, but don't mutter too much, Sigma. just enough to not fuck up just enough to not fucking clog up the pipes here. Okay. Okay, what were we discussing last night? What were we talking about? Sure, we can start off. Go ahead. You want to start us off 88? I never watched Star Trek. I was never a Star Trek guy. It was just like, it was just too much for me. I did like the Christmas special for Star Wars when it came out, like on VHS or whatever, or on TV or whatever. I mean, I've seen it since then. I had it on videotape. But Star Trek is like, when I watch them, I'm just like, I need to go outside. Hitler. That's fine. And I know a lot of people are super into Star Trek and you know, all that kind of stuff. That's fine. I was always into the shit that like they never developed a full universe out of, a full fictitious universe like Predator. Like like I was way into like Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger, with the dude that fucking cuts his chest with a machete, the engine. They had the comics. I had the comics. I bought the comics. I was at a comic book store and I found Predator magazines in there. But they just didn't really develop out that Predator shit. Anyways, what in the fuck are we talking about? Okay. I am not going to talk about Moses. Okay. I'm not going to talk about Moses. Somebody wanted to talk about Hitler. I don't know. What do you guys want to talk about? Where's 88? The Phoenicians? I mean, I don't know a ton about the Phoenicians. What do you want to talk about the Phoenicians? You want to talk about ancient Egypt? Now, if we think that we're going to talk about ancient Egypt and just sit here watching your comments about ancient Egypt, that's probably not going to be in everybody's interest. The Phoenician Empire, the Phoenician. I mean, what do you mean Phoenician? Like, can you define it? Do you literally mean the Phoenician society? The Jews built the pyramids. Book close. Aaron wants to talk about Tin Mill. We could talk about Tin Mill. Tin Mill is the shit. It is Tin Mill is one of these cartridges that it is really a really impressive performer. It's got more bridges than most people can handle. So a lot of people will shoot Tin Mill like, ooh, is a Tin Mill? It's not really a good idea for or how do I put it? If you're not skilled with it, it is something dangerous to use as a weapon because you can't accurately get rounds on target. Like you're gonna flinch. You're gonna have like issues with accuracy. You're gonna have trouble with recoil management and shit like that. If you're good with it, if you're trained with it, if you train with it, you put the time under the gun, which is really hard with Tin Mill because it's fucking expensive as fuck. So you pretty much have to be a reloader to shoot a lot of Tin Mill. But if that's you, it is straight up. I mean, you can match the crazy thing about Tin Mill is that you can match the ballistics of a 357 mag. So you have like semi-auto 357 mag in the size of a Glock 21 package. Like especially I should mention this too. I'm not really that into like 10 mil 1911s and shit like that. I'm not really in my when somebody says 10 mil, I'm pretty or like a Kunin or something like that. When somebody says 10 mil, I'm pretty much thinking of Glock 20. So that's like the only reference that I have. I've never fucked with any of that other stuff, but if I did, I would sell it and buy a Glock 20 because it holds motherfucking 15 rounds of 10 mil. It's like having with the stock magazine, with the flush magazine to the bottom, you have 15 rounds of semi-automatic 357 Magnum if you do your round dope correct. Which is, I mean, it's a lot. It's like I mean, even if you took something ridiculous like a Desert Eagle in 357 mag, you're still gonna only be at like, what is that, 8 rounds on the 357? It's not very many. Well, you got 15 of them bad boys on a flush pup, and if you go up to if you go with like an extendo or something like that, or like a Arredondo or a Torn Tactical extension or something like that, I mean, you can +5 to that. You're gonna have 20 rounds of fucking 357 Magnum on your pistol. Are you crazy? Forget about it. Are the people that carry black powder? I mean, you can have black powder for, I mean, like shooting one guy. If you're shooting like one guy, I mean, it's a reasonable defense. If that's what you got, if that's all you got, black powder, you should be like well trained with it though, like training yourself so that you're. You see black powder carry. I've never seen open carry black powder. I mean, I guess you could see that. I don't, I don't know about that. I'm thinking more along the lines of that you're a farmer and you just have a black powder gun, and so like you keep that bitch loaded, you know, and dry, and then somebody comes in and tries to have their way with your dog, and you fucking show them the door to heaven. That's what I'm thinking of. No, I don't. I don't recommend. I don't recommend black powder for like a competitive defensive option. Oh man. Yeah. You're significantly slower with, obviously with black powder. So black powder is an entirely different beast than nitrocellulose. Uh, you guys, Sigma, you are way too fast for me to read. So yeah, black powder. I mean, your composition, your traditional composition of black powder, like your China comp, which is where the origin of it, is sulfur, saltpeter, and charcoal. Particularly pine charcoal. But you can do other stuff, or like lamp black. You can do lamp black. Lamp black is like one of the most competitive. It's supposed to be really high speed. The modern one's a little bit more, a modern one would bind it with dextrose. You typically do a binder, dextrose. So the advantage of black powder these days is that, number one, it can't be taken away. So you can always make black powder. You can't always, nitrocellulose is a completely different story. So the difference between black powder and nitrocellulose, number one, is the heat of enthalpy, the heat of combustion, the detonation velocity. They're entirely different compounds. One of them is black powder is technically a master pyrotechnic composition. Nitrocellulose is a high explosive, so they're totally different things. Black powder is really an art, and you can. I mean, if you fuck around and change stuff in the comp, like, you can get it to go into depth. It's going to completely change any kind of load data you have. So it has, but what I mean is it has a huge variability to how you make it. Nitrocellulose, it's typically between, like, I don't know, I think you could get it down to 10% nitration and then up to like 15. And 15 would be like wowzers. Most of it is like 12 to 13, I think, for gunpowder, for smokeless powder. The nitrocellulose is literally it's usually like a homogeneous like linters or like cotton linters or something like that, and it's processed, then they nitrate it, then now this is the crazy thing. Nitrocellulose, you have to transport it wet because it fucking detonates on its own. So the motherfucker will catch on fire. That is what, and detonate. So the hard part about nitrocellulose, you could nitrate some cellulose and that will work. You can't keep it from detonating. So they add like diphenylamine and shit like that to be an inhibitor to the breakdown of that, like, the acidic nature of it which causes like inevitable detonation, and it's a huge problem Black powder is also a huge problem. There's not very many black powder manufacturers in the United States anymore, like large, like industrial scale manufacturers of black powder. It's kind of like gone away. There's still at least, I know of at least like one, like a major one that does most of the black powder for the black powder industry. And then the rest of them most of them, I mean, all the big ones went away. Like long, before I was ever born, they went away. And nitrocellulose went into, for pistol, they're doping it with nitroglycerin and nitroguanidine, which are both high explosives. Nitroglycerin is like a super hot nitrate ester, and it's a they added in, it binds really well with nitrocellulose. It adds a ton of energy to it. It's way more energetic than nitrocellulose, so it's usually a minimal additive. And then they add, if it's a triple, that would be like a double base, or your double base could be with nitroguanidine, or if you were doing a triple base, they would do like all three of them, nitroguanidine, and the fucking guanidine is really cool because it's such a unique. It's got all these amines in it, and so you can. It's really cool. Like, it's a cool burning high explosive. Has no flash. It has this relatively cool burning in terms of its heat production, and so you can add it into things like black powder, and then it's perfect for like barrels. So that's where your triple base stuff. Most of your triple base stuff is pistols and shit. If the fastest nitrocellulose that you can get for like high detonation velocity is going to be like crazy pistol powders. And I mean, it's basic shit. I can't ever remember. I've talked about this before. There's a list floating around of like measured detonation velocities of like 100 powders that are on the market right now. It's like somebody just detonated them all and then recorded detonation velocity with an oscilloscope. The fucking I remember that whatever the hell they are, the when you go into the Cabela's and shit and they have like the green, red, blue, those are all three of those are in like the top 20, so you get a pretty fast det off that. Okay, what's the difference between, Aaron asks, what's the difference between Pyrodex and standard black powder? Standard black powder is like the original recipe black powder. Like there's only one black powder. Everything else is just a supplement or something else. Pyrodex is they change some of the shit in it. So one of the things about black powder, like saltpeter, is potassium nitrate, and that absorbs water. It's hygroscopic. So that's like where the adage of keep your powder dry comes from. It's mostly due to potassium nitrate. So you can replace the potassium nitrate with other nitrates, which changes the characteristic. It changes every characteristic of the powder. It's not a crazy change unless you do like a double. I'm sure the like barium nitrate or something would be a lot different, but most of your nitrates that are in the same weight, molar weight, will be similar performance. But you could, there's some nitrates that are not hygroscopic. So Pyrodex uses a mix of I can't remember what they use in theirs, but they're going to be certainly substituting out saltpeter for something else, a nitrogen compound that is not hygroscopic, and then they're using a binder. And they're putting it into a pellet, and they're selling it as like a press, standard fit. It's really like Pyrex is like genius. Like I think that I think they're probably like 100 years too late to really make it huge, but it's really smart. It's like the intermediate between black powder and smokeless. Smokeless powder has a lot of cool properties. Like for instance, so if you ever get random bullets or something like that, always save primers and always save powder, and always save. I mean, save the whole motherfucking thing. But like, let's say that like I'll get rounds sometimes over the years, for some caliber that I don't have, um, like some fucking 6 mil Swiss or something or whatever. Just because you don't have the rounds, if you're not planning on getting a rifle, and you're like, I'm never gonna get that rifle on these rounds. Save the fucking rounds and take out the powder. Like disassemble the entire thing, take out the powder, separate your primers, separate your brass, clean your brass, whatever. The powder, like a nitrocellulose, even off a rifle powder, you can you can dissolve it in like nitromethane. You can dissolve it in acetone, shit like that. Turn it into a gel. You can gelationize it. You can add if you add aluminum powder to it, then you can make like a really primitive first fire mix, and you can keep it in a closed container, so it's always like a gel. So you can have like a little paintbrush in a little bottle, and have yourself a little first fire mix. So like anything that you ever want to like light with a fuse, you can paint the fuse with it or whatever. It's just something handy to have that you'll never have when when you need it. Like it'd be like all the time when you're like, I need a first fire mix. Like, damn it, where are the rounds that I can take apart? And it takes for fucking ever. It's something that is good to just make, and then it's just sitting there in a bottle because it can pretty much sit there indefinitely. All right, where are we? I'm gonna check up on the comments here. What's is Trump coming back in August? I really don't want to see it happen. It's gonna be super depressing to see. Not anything to do with it. Nothing to do with your delusional fear of like me being anti-Trump. Nothing to do with that. It's that it marks like the serious downturn of the United States. Like the United States is gonna turn that corner of like no return when Trump comes back. So it's gonna be like a. I would assume that they're gonna do it. So it's only a matter of time. There could be something catastrophic that happens that changes everything, and they decide not to do it. I thought they were going to send Trump way earlier. I thought they were going to try. I thought they were going to take the United States with Trump. That's what I thought, because they definitely could have done it in terms of like force capacity, but I'm not really sure if like for the long. I think it's difficult to know what the game plan is here. I feel like if they took the United States by force with Trump, then it would warrant a theatric counter response from like internationalists. So they'd have to like feign their own response of like acting like they have to like stop it or whatever. I just think it was and honestly I think they calculated that it could get too out of control, and so they need something that's more controlled. And so I could see Trump could certainly come back getting elected. I saw around here there's Trump 2024 flags. So he's like not counted out at all. The Rothschilds made such a huge investment in Trump. It basically doesn't make any sense, and it would completely depart from the past model of like what the Rothschilds have is the Rothschild house has a habit for a long time, for a couple hundred years of historically, people that they work with, they pretty much work with them the whole life. So if there's one good thing about the Rothschilds is that they like things to just be like slow and steady and not change. So like they like to like get somebody on board and then just fucking stick with them until they die of old age or whatever. So it really doesn't make any sense to project Donald Trump into the White House, which is absolutely what happened. Absolutely what happened. It had nothing to do with American people. American people are just seeing what they're supposed to see and thinking what they're supposed to think. And they like Donald Trump. And so that is convenient because it turns out that's who Rothschilds want to be in charge of the United States. It wouldn't make any sense for them to put the investment that they did in Trump if they're not going to use it. They're going to cash it in. It's an investment. Not only is it an investment, it's a major investment. It's a game changer. The Rothschilds have put presidents in for a long time, like for instance Wilson. Wilson, who is the predecessor, to World War One presidency. So he ran the first campaign. He ran on, kept us out of the war, the second campaign he ran on. He kept us out of the war for World War One. He ended up deploying into the war. So, like they used because everybody was so freaked out they didn't want to go to World War One. So that's how that's how you get elected, by saying that you're not going to go into World War One. Then you just fucking go into World War One anyway, and everybody forgets about that shit. They're just like forgive it, I guess. I wouldn't, but that's kind of what people do, and that's what happened with Wilson, and he definitely got placed in there, and was managed the entire time. And if you read some of Wilson's writings, you can really tell by the end of Wilson straight up wrote in like 1915 like a straight up chilling like manuscript where he describes an international power that's like controlling the world. Like in a published little book he's making, like a little insignificant book he makes. Straight up, it's just like a departure from the whole book. It's just like a straight up, like, oh shit, that's some cold shit to say. Like you read it, it's eerie. It's eerie because Wilson is like a major world government cocksucker, and this guy's like writing about this shit in his little gay diary. So, it's a big deal. It's something that's been going on for a long time, and he definitely got played into it. And Wilson's entire presidency is kind of marked with these periods of like where he's dissatisfied with whatever procedural thing is going on, with like watching how it unfolds, and then he's powerless to stop it because the president's don't have any power, and so he just kind of has to sit there and go like, okay, I'll take it up the ass. That's what all presidents do. They come to the realization, they kind of go in there with like these delusions about how they're going to be powerful, and they figure out like it's just a fucking charade, and they fucking give up, and they usually get like real quiet at the end of their presidency and don't come back into politics at all. Or if anything, they go like talk to kids or something, tell them like not to give up, That same shit that happened with Wilson is the same shit that happened with Trump, but times 10. And for Wilson, they did a world war. So they usually don't get hands on with people, but Trump is like the most hands on they've ever been with a candidate. It's I don't know how it's gonna go. I can see so many possibilities. It's difficult to know where they want to take it. I could see Trump coming back and being with the communist threat in the United States, Trump becoming like the face of America once again, but like for real this time. And then like them launching like extermination raids on people that want to resist world government and just say that they're communists, like, because everybody's such an idiot. Like nobody will know any different, So my fear is that the range of latitude that it gives them once they get them in here, you depart from the Constitution as a standard, which automatically means that people don't have rights anymore. It's already kind of getting like that, and that's kind of the point of like the riots and stuff, because it makes, when you have Antifa rioting everywhere, it kind of makes it, when they're like, fucking everything up really hardcore and being like super, like really asking for it, it makes every person and every man, anybody who doesn't understand what's going on and is reacting from their emotion, and anybody that's like a cop that has to deal with it, like a local PD anywhere in any of these cities getting protests, like how that makes it. It makes it like we got to just crack these guys on the head something good so that they fucking remember, to stop fucking around. Obviously, that's like that reaction. There's nothing unusual about it. It's the same reaction that they had every decade in the past when people are responding to the organized stimulus events that take place in like history, and you're supposed to not like the rioters, okay, because they're disruptive, and that's the whole point. So you're supposed to go too far in the response because they're too disruptive and annoying, and then what happens is the new rules stay. So the idea would be like in this worst case scenario with Trump would be like Trump comes back, everybody's scared shitless of communism because communism gets like super extreme and starts taking away rights between now and 2024, which is entirely possible. Like I mean, that's like what we're looking at, right? So you could see how American citizens would be like kind of desperate and kind of like, we don't really give a fuck. Like, are we gonna not have communism? Okay. You could bring Trump back in, and then you could do a like Julius Caesar style, like I'm just taking the country, because we can't handle elections anymore because there's commies everywhere. And then once you get that threshold crossed, now because it's a farce the entire time because Trump's just a Rothschild boy, now the Rothschilds pretty much have unlimited access to just kill anybody in the United States that they want. They're going to be able to use the entire national security apparatus to it's already set up to be classified and restricted access, so people can't see who are on the targeting programs and shit. Do we just fucking lose the connection? It just that guy just got the yellow exclamation point just popped up on this bitch. You gotta be fucking shitting me. Did it freeze? I mean, you gotta at least freeze. You gotta at least freeze the motherfucker in a spot that isn't fucking conspicuous. You dumb motherfuckers. I mean, I haven't done anything. I'm sitting here with it. I'm in an open barn, towards the sky. Point towards the sky. There's a tower right over there. It's a huge fucking Jew tower right over there. I can see it with my eyes. Alright. Quick pause. Okay, this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna back out, go get a beer, and reset the connection. Be right back.